What's going on, everybody? It's Mr. 6'9" JT the Godfather from Marks and Mics. So let's talk about something real quick. I got to talk about it. If you haven't heard about it, let's talk about Anchor. Anchor is one of the easiest tools in the world to start your podcast. It has everything you need at the palm of your hand. The only thing you got to do is go ahead and download it, and it will do the work for you. It will distribute your podcasts to all the big heavy hitters such as Apple Podcasts and Spotify and many more platforms. And most of all, it's free. It's free. And did I mention that it's free? Go ahead and download it right now at your local app store. Let's start a podcast.
Could you give at Marks with Mike's podcast a shout out? Shout out!
Hey, yo.
What a maneuver! Mamma mia! Mamma mia! Are you kidding me?
The irresistible force meeting the immovable object.
What's up, everybody? You know who it is by the sound of my voice. That's right, it's your boy, Mr. 6'9", JT, back in this piece once again. And of course, I'm rolling with my co-host, El Cheech. What's going on, Poppy?
Too much drugs, got me singing now. Double. I'm in trouble. Yeah, yo, what's going on? It's a Cheech in La Casa. How's everybody doing?
You already know, laying in the cut like a Band-Aid, but listen, it's a Thursday. And I know, like I said, each and every Thursday, we try to release y'all an episode, either a pay-per-view review or a special guest. And this Thursday is just like none other. Listen, I know the last 2 weeks I've been lacking, but there's a reason for that. Somebody told me what time it was, but I believe right now we have the man of the hour. Ladies and gentlemen, we have none other on the other line, the 26-year-old piece of gold. Ladies and gentlemen, Lio Rush.
Oh, man.
What's up, man? Did I hear you say that you were 6'9"?
Yeah, man, 6'9".
All right. What, used to be a basketball player, football player?
I mean, yeah, I played a little bit of both, basketball and football, but MCL, ACL injuries kind of ruined that.
He was actually a backup singer.
Yeah, right, a backup singer. Well, definitely got to wish you a happy birthday real quick. Just celebrated your birthday not too long ago.
Thank you. Yes.
Oh, shit.
Appreciate that.
No problem, man. Got to celebrate your birthday with the fam and, enjoying that extra year of life. But speaking of life, man, we got to dive right deep into this conversation. So I understand as a kid, you were very athletic, right?
Yeah. I've been playing sports ever since I was 5 years old. I was a football player, a baseball player, basketball. I tried to run track, but pulled a hamstring first practice, so I quit that. What else? Tried to do some swimming. Didn't really like that all that much. But then I went into being an amateur wrestler in high school and stuck with that all the way through. So yeah, I've been pretty active my whole life.
That's cool. So how was it growing up in the Washington area as a young stud growing up?
It was, I don't know. I feel like I've never been asked that question, but it was pretty decent. It wasn't, the worst thing in the world. I went back and forth from New Carrollton, Maryland to Southeast Washington, D.C. So parts of, D.C. where my family was staying, that was pretty rough. But, the parts of Maryland where I grew up, wasn't too bad.
Yeah, shout out to Washington, D.C., Chocolate City. But speaking of wrestling, what was it about wrestling that got you hooked as a kid? Was it a particular match, particular set of wrestlers?
I think overall it was the fans, like seeing the interaction between the fans and the wrestlers. I thought it was cool that, people would come to Raw or SmackDown or any show just to cheer for one person. And I thought that was cool. It was different than, going to a basketball game and cheering for the Lakers. It's about 100 people on that team. But, I just thought it was cool that one guy could be soloed out for an entire arena. And, I wanted that to be my life.
So you got engaged with the feeling of the feel of the crowd. That's what hooked you. But eventually you end up following your dream. Was that like right after high school?
Yeah. So I tried to be a professional wrestler while I was in high school. I actually ended up going to a training center when I was 17. And I went there to check out the training center. I didn't sign up. I was just, seeing how the school was ran. And if it was somewhere that I wanted to, pursue my dreams. And then the following week, I decided to come back and the doors were locked. Couldn't, figure out why the doors were locked. The lights were out. And then, find out a month later that one of their students had died in the ring. And it was like all over the newspapers and stuff like that. So they ended up, closing the school. And I had to end up waiting, until I was 19 years old to go to a different training school finally. And that was MCW Training Center.
Man, you had come a long way. You going on your 6th year in the business, right?
Yeah, going on my 6th year.
So right now you're just touching the surface, and I just want to ask you about your beginnings, your career. You started as a tag team wrestler with now we know him as Velveteen Dream. How was it, the beginning of your career as a tag team?
It was a difficult start, just because, like you said, I started out in a tag team, and that's kind of all I really knew, just because all of the shows that I was doing were tag matches. And then when Patrick got called up to be on Tough Enough, that, kind of got interrupted very abruptly, and I didn't know how to adjust to that, so quickly, because I still had shows lined up. I still, was taking bookings. But now, I had to learn how to perfect like a singles match and learn how to, learn the psychology of a singles match and not so much, a tag team match anymore. So it was a bit of an adjustment, but, got through it, look where I am, today. So it all turned out for the best.
Yeah, you got the chance to, go on your solo run, make some stops along the way, and you got the chance to stop at CZW. CZW, where you had some of your best feuds with one Joey Janela. You got the chance to win gold there, and you got to win it on 2 occasions. And it just seems like the whole time Joey Janela was your nemesis, but we'll touch on that later. But what was it about the CZW culture that you just flocked to?
I think performing in front of those fans, that Philadelphia crowd, is so different than wrestling in front of any other crowd, just because they're so critical. They're hardcore wrestling fans. So, if you fuck up anything in a match, they're going to call you out on it. Like they're not afraid to tell you fucked up and start a you fucked up chant. So, I like being able to, please an audience like that. And, in my mind, I felt like if I can get over and, in front of a crowd like that, then I can get over anywhere. So, I liked sticking with CZW because it challenged me.
Yeah, man. I mean, you put up some unbelievable matches there, man. Like I said, just going back through the list of people that you got to face there. But eventually you end up moving on. You got the chance to go ahead and hold gold in House of Glory. which is now owned by Master P. The last time I checked, I can't see.
Make you say,
Yeah, I can't see. I can't wait to see what happens with that. I mean, honestly, if Master P does what I think he can do with this, man, we can actually make Def Jam Vendetta actually come true. You know, just have have different record label bosses be in charge of certain factions. I think that would be dope personally, but that's a whole different story. But yeah, you got the chance to hold gold there in House of Glory, man. I mean, and I was just going back looking at the picture. You holding that title up high, man. Like that title looked heavy as shit. I'm like, damn, that's a big ass.
It was. It definitely was. It was a pain to carry it all throughout the airports. But yeah, I'm glad that I was able to have that run in House of Glory. It's crazy that Master P is the owner of House of Glory now. Hopefully he can do something pretty cool with it. Obviously once the pandemic is over with and things start to clear up a little bit, it would be cool to go back.
Man, I would love to see something like that actually happen. You know what I'm saying? You get Master P holding down a faction, bring a Rick Ross to hold down a faction, get Jadakiss to hold down a faction, bro. Man, that right there, that is money. Listen, EA Sports, y'all heard it here first. Go ahead if you want to run with the idea. So, eventually you move on to Ring of Honor, and to me, that's where your name started ringing bells even more and more. So how was that experience with Ring of Honor, as far as getting down there?
It was really cool. The time that I was there, that roster was stacked. Literally the best wrestlers in the world were a part of that roster. I believe it was 2017. Like you had like the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, Dijak, the list goes on and on, like Lethal, the Briscoes, is crazy.
War Machine.
So War Machine. So it's crazy to have, gone through that time in Ring of Honor, because it literally, made me the wrestler that I am today. I feel like, wrestling guys like that constantly over and over again, you have no choice but to get better.
In 2016, the top prospect tournament, Ring of Honor, you killed it.
Yeah.
You was the talk of the town, and it was just a matter of time till you got to the right platform. It's funny, man. You're only 26. At the time, of course, you was way younger, so the potential was there. So it was just a matter to get it to the right platform, and and it was inevitable for you to keep moving on up. Like before Ring of Honor, you did do the PWG. That at the time it was probably perhaps one of the hottest indies in the States.
Yeah.
And, so you living in Cali now.
Yeah. Cali now.
So you have to. So it made sense for you to move to the West Coast. Now knowing everything that's happening in your career, it was a great move. Yeah, being around with so much talent, it did rub off on you. You could see, through your talent, the matches that you had with Jay Lethal. That was, great matches and stuff. It was just a matter of time till you got, to where you at now. And of course, it didn't hurt you the fact that you have my skills, and it shows.
Speaking of showing, man, listen, I believe this is where me and Cheech first met. We were getting ready to get on the plane to New Orleans, and we were going to WrestleMania. And we talked about your talent showing, and I believe that was the first time we got the opportunity to actually see you wrestle in New Orleans live. Was that your first time wrestling at that point for NXT in New Orleans?
Yeah, it definitely was. I think that was about, my third match in NXT was being a part of, WrestleMania Access. So yeah, that was pretty cool to be able to perform in front of, all of those fans that came across the entire world. It was really cool.
Mm-hmm. So, you end up getting to NXT, and I talk to a lot of these guys, and they say, it's a whole different type of feel, the difference between NXT and the main roster. So how was that feel for you?
It was really cool. I know, I remember when I first got signed, or right before I got signed, they would do these big takeover, like, reveals of, like, the next signing. And it was a lot of build up because, people knew that there were going to be a lot of Ring of Honor guys coming in. Like week after week, you saw a new one. You saw like Roderick Strong come in. Then you saw Bobby Fish have a singles debut. Then you saw Kyle O'Reilly. Then you saw, Dijak. And then I think the last person that they saw was Adam Cole. But you saw me in that mix too. So, people knew about, me being signed. People knew that I was, coming to NXT at some point. And they were just waiting for it. So, to be able to come in and like hear the reaction that I got, was really cool. And, during that time, obviously I don't know what the feeling is now, but during that time, that was huge. That almost felt like it was like a PWG type feeling because you had all of these guys, coming in, month after month after month. And it's like, man, like who else is gonna, be in NXT? So it was cool first getting there.
Hey, they rated ROH that year, that's for sure.
Yeah, man, they damn sure did. But so speaking of basically, you being on an NXT roster, so eventually you end up, getting called up to the main roster, starting off on 205, and then, getting to Raw. I mean, I know it was a big difference from taping on that Tuesday night, but how would you say that the mood definitely changed once you got to the main roster?
I think over time, it wasn't too stressful, going to the 205, because there wasn't as many hands involved with 205 as much as it was with SmackDown. So it kind of felt like a little break, from what the feeling was in NXT. It was a little more relaxed for 205. You just came in, waited throughout the whole show of SmackDown, and then did your match and went home. So it was pretty chill for the most part. I think the only time where it felt like things like really started to pick up and things started to get hectic was when I was doing 205 and Raw at the same time, and I was traveling with the SmackDown loop at the same time as traveling with the Raw loop. That was a bit much, but it didn't start to pick up until I got on Raw.
And yeah, so when you got on Raw, who idea was it to pair you up with Bobby Lashley?
That came straight from Vince. Yeah, that was Vince's project right there. So that whole pairing, everything that we did, it was mostly his idea.
Yeah, that was great. The one thing that I was, as a fan, Bobby Lashley's back with WWE. You got Brock Lesnar. They got the MMA background. It's like, bro, make it happen. You have Brock Lesnar with Paul E. And then Lashley. I'm not going to lie. At first, it was like, what the fuck? But then I found myself saying it. And I'm like, it was catching on. Every week, it was like seeing you, you know what I mean? Like they trying to separate the 205 dude that we know he could go to, the manager. But if they would have actually built on that matchup between Brock and, you know what I mean, and Lashley. Have you on the stick going against Paul Heyman?
Oh man,
that would be nuts. The potential is there, but they're corporate. They have other plans or whatever. Like they say, cars subject to change, all this stuff. But to me, that was one of the biggest things that they dropped the ball on was on a on a run, like on a collision course, let's say, between Brock and Lashley with, you know what I mean, you setting up the score in the background, you know what I mean. That would have been awesome.
Yeah, it was something everybody was waiting for. So, unfortunately,
it was a no-brainer.
So, yeah.
Definitely a no-brainer. So, eventually you end up taking some time away and you start working on your music. And I'm really big on this because you released 2 songs right before you got back to NXT. One of them being Scenic Lullaby, which is honestly, that's on my playlist. Real talk. That's on my playlist, and Lost is on my playlist. Both of those songs, when I listen to them, honestly, I get in this mode where I start to think, and I start to think about, everything, but those lyrics definitely at home. So what inspired you with the Scenic Lullaby song and the Lost song?
So Scenic Lullaby, that was during a time period where, I feel like my character started to bleed into my actual personal life, and a lot of I was getting a lot of hate messages and a lot of criticism and people just believing the character that I portrayed on TV, and no matter what I put out there on social media, whether that was about my family, like my wife, my kids, like any other like kind of projects that I wanted to do outside of wrestling, people didn't want to like buy into it because they're like, oh, this guy's like an asshole. Like I'm not gonna support anything that he's doing. And, I felt like, people just saw me as this character and not, actual person with, in a sense, like feelings. And I don't know, it kind of got to me a little bit. So I decided, to open up a little bit, like share what I've gone through, like in my life, what I'm currently going through now, and just show, people that, I'm just like them, just like a normal human being. I just so happen to play like an asshole on TV. So that's how like, Scenic Lullaby came into play. And then Lost, I feel like the lyrics is pretty, self-explanatory, even though I didn't like mention, WWE or anything like that. I was just going through like a shitty, time in WWE. And, that was just, one way to vent about it and express myself. So that's how Lost came.
Yeah, that's cool. I wanna say because I heard in a previous interview you did about I think a question was of why, like, have you thought about implementing your music or your character, into your wrestling character? And I think your answer was that's your getaway. You know what I mean? From everything that's going on, music that's therapeutic. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
And I thought that was, it was like, and it made sense in a nigga thing because of course you could come in and bust some verses or rap or even come out to your own theme song, which in a way you had, you know what I mean? But like that kind of like, yo man, this dude is deep, you know what I mean? And that to me, it makes me see you in a different light, you know what I mean? Like not as a musician, but also as, of course, like an entertainer, but as an athlete, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Me personally, your second single, I Wonder, that
you came in singing that one.
Yeah, man, like too much drugs got me singing now. Double. I'm in trouble. You know what I mean? Like I could relate. You know what I mean? I had gone through my own personal things. So right there, at first I was gonna ask you like, who's that dude, that big dude in the video? Like I wanted to like punch him in the face, but then, you see the video. You know what I mean? So the video got meaning. You know what I mean? But it's just crazy seeing Lio Rush, the middle of the hour in the ring, to like it's day and night, and the fact that you are able to keep them separated, you know what I mean? It's a testament of, you know what I mean, of everything that's happening to you now.
But yeah, definitely, man. Because the first time I got the chance to see Lost, you know, I'm a faithful viewer of WorldStarHipHop.com, so I'm constantly on there. And you know, I'm on WorldStar. You know, I'm usually looking for, you know, the compilations, maybe someone getting
the honeys.
out.
He talking about the
yeah, those compilations too. But you know what I'm saying. But I'm on WorldStar, and boom, I see Lio Rush, and it had like in parentheses WWE wrestler superstar, and it had Lost. I was like, all right, this look dope. But I'm looking at the video, and it's like, boom, I automatically connected. I mean, I definitely read in between the lines, but even without even, you know, looking at that situation of what you were going through, the lyrics itself definitely hit home with anyone who's ever felt that they've been inside that situation. And speaking about music, you know a lot about music because your parents are gospel singers, right?
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, you know, so you got the chance to travel with them and things of that nature. I mean, of course, myself growing up inside of a household where your father's a pastor and your mom's a pastor, so you know I was in church three days out the week, maybe even 4, forced to join the men's choir when I really didn't want to sing.
Yeah, I didn't get that far. I almost did, but I didn't get that far.
Man, lucky you, man. They had me in plays and stuff. It's like go ahead and join the praise dance team right there. That's where I hit it off. You know, I'm 6'9". What the hell look like up there doing praise dances? You know that just don't look right. So you know, you got, you know, having that musical background definitely, you know, passed on to yourself, and you know, of course, we get further on to, you know, your last run at NXT. And honestly, when I tell you, I love that run with you capturing the NXT Championship scrap. And I don't know if you remember, but you know, the very night that you won the title, I sent out this tweet of the NXT Cruiserweight Championship, and I had it like in the black leather with the gold.
Oh wow, yeah, I remember that.
I mean, they dropped the ball on that. I mean, that black and gold. I mean, don't get me wrong, the new title, it's all right. You know, I could rock with it.
No.
But that black and gold, like, I think that would have been fuego. Like, that would have been fire.
Yeah, that would have been it.
Man, but then again, you know, they still got them ugly ass tag team champions on championships on the fucking main roster.
Yeah, I think that Doritos
Locos Challenge, the Doritos bag, where we got Nacho
and the Ranch.
Cool Ranch.
Yeah.
The Nacho and Cool Ranch titles. But but that to me, I love that run. I love that run. And I also love the fact that, you know,
the match of the Garza.
That's what I was about to say. Yo.
Man, the chemistry was bananas, bro. They ain't hold back, you know what I mean? They were hitting themselves for real. Like,
I love that match. And I remember, you know, watching this and streaming this on TV, and, you know, and them allowing you to bring your wife in, and then boom, we get hit with this pandemic.
Yeah. How did that make you feel, you know, bringing in your wife into the storyline and being on TV? And, you know, and by the way, congratulations on the new acquisition to the team, you know?
Oh, yeah, that's right. You got a brand new team member joining the squad. Got yourself a little starting lineup.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah, when I first pitched it, you know, I remember talking to my wife about it and telling her that I was going to pitch that idea. And, you know, I don't know. I don't remember thinking that, oh, they're not going to like go for this. But at the same time, you know, I didn't see it as like the craziest idea in the world. But I was shocked when they did say, all right, that sounds like a good idea. Like, bring her in. And I was just like, oh, wow. Like it you know, kind of shocked me a little bit, but I'm glad that they trusted, my idea with the whole storyline. And, I remember her coming in, like for rehearsals, and, while I was like going over stuff, and I was like, oh wow, that this is real. Like my wife is going to be a part of this storyline, which was really cool. I'm glad that I was able to, get her involved, and, my boys were in the crowd, when that first started. Her mom was in the crowd, my mom and my grandmother. So like my whole family was there. So it was really cool to be able to, not only have, them physically be there, but, also like commentary, like putting it over huge. So that was really cool.
Yeah, man. I genuinely love that moment because, yeah. So, of course I'm a new father myself, and, it's a good feeling. Like anytime your kids get the chance to see you do what you do for a living, to that child, it's like, wow, this is what my dad does. But not only are you a professional wrestler in their eyes, but, they actually get to see you do it. Probably still talk about it to this day. And then the pandemic and the craziness erupts, because I, for one, was definitely upset about the releases that happened, because I thought it was crazy because you were just pitching on IG about you recapturing, the NXT championship, NXT Cruiserweight championship. And then, this happens. And I'm just sitting there like, I'm 100% all behind. I'm like, yo, give my man Lio Rush another chance at the scrap. Because you and Garza alone could have carried that cruiserweight division.
Remember Survivor Series too? He was leading he was in a tank. How was it riding a freaking tank?
In the tank, bro.
Yeah.
Leading the charge, bro.
I know. It's like he just came back, and it's like right there to me. I seen him like he's one of the main, going into the Survivor Series thing, and it's just next thing you know, like I said, boom, things change, what I mean?
Yeah, that was cool. That was a cool moment, and a lot of people don't get moments like that in WWE, because that one is that's gonna be on replay for years and years and years, because that was the first night that NXT invaded, the main roster. So it's cool to be able to be a part of history like that.
Yeah. It was definitely dope. One thing I want to touch on, once, of course, you get released and all that. But I want to take it back. I believe around 3 years ago, you did an interview with Trey Miguel's girlfriend, Alicia Stout, up in Canada.
Yeah.
And you mentioned something about the people from New Japan, people that you would like to wrestle and stuff like that. And lo and behold, 3 years later, you in the J Cup, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
How great is God, you know what I mean? And,
yeah.
And to me, like I always, remember that, like now, once they announce you, you know what I mean? It was kind of like, oh shit. It was just, you know what I mean? Like ending. Yeah, 2020 hasn't been too kind to a lot of people, but as we can see, it has helped you grow. And going into the J Cup in New Japan, although, you've been overseas prior to, this, how, and at 26, this opportunity could literally make you or break you. How's your approach going into the New Japan J Cup?
It feels good, like when obviously when I got signed to WWE, I didn't see myself, getting fired or walking away from the company or anything. I saw myself staying there. So I was a little disappointed, at the fact that, I've been to, so many places. I've had tours in Canada and Mexico and England and Ireland and stuff like that. But I never got the chance to go to Japan. So that was always in the back of my mind when I was in WWE, like, man, like shit, like I've done so many like cool things except for Japan. So being able to be a part of the Super J Cup is, incredible. Definitely something that I've been wanting for years, clearly, with you bringing up that interview with Alicia, so for the people that know about that interview, they obviously know that, I've been wanting this, since I started. So it's an incredible opportunity. like you said, this is something that makes or breaks people. I know, a lot of people get, bigger opportunities from a tournament like this, being able to not only compete against people within New Japan and the best, junior heavyweights in the world, but being able to wrestle in front of, the online audience, that Japanese crowd and that Japanese like fan base, and the people that are the decision makers of New Japan. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I'm looking to not only hopefully win the whole thing, but beyond that, create an even bigger opportunity from it.
So another question. So do you have to travel to Japan, or since, of course, it's convenient for you, you live in Cali, they do have a LA dojo. Are you going to have to go to Japan, or are you staying in the States, due to the pandemic? How is it going to go?
I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, I know we're like, 3 weeks out. I'm pretty sure. Right? Yeah, the pandemic things are probably going to be here in the United States.
And it's convenient the best for you.
Yeah, Best of Super Juniors is in Japan, so it only makes sense.
Yeah, definitely makes sense. So going back, of course, you get this unfortunate news that the release happens, and at one point, posted online that this was it. You were finished wrestling, and as fans, looking at that, it's like, no, don't do it. I mean, yeah, focus on your music, but you still have so much more to give to this business, and definitely don't want to see you go out like that, because with you being so young, at just seeing your transition, your build. If Lio Rush was this good at 22, 23, 24, 25, and now 26, we're yet to see what's going to happen with 26. But definitely wasn't ready to see you go. But is that something you were actually considering, the final match?
Yeah, for sure. It definitely was. People, even though they know, the history of WWE and the stories and, people leaving or people, just all the bad stuff that you hear about WWE. It never compares to, somebody actually going through it. And for me, experiencing, what I've experienced, the good and the bad, I was just burnt out, and in a sense, a little traumatized. So I just felt, I felt like I needed to get away, like completely. I didn't want to watch it. I didn't want to listen. I didn't want to hear about it. I didn't want to talk about it. I just wanted to somehow find a new way to, hopefully, try to make a name for myself, other than wrestling, because I just knew that I just didn't want to be a part of it anymore. It felt very toxic, to me, and it was affecting my personal life. So yeah, it was something that was what I thought was set in stone, but clearly that's not the case now. But yeah.
Yeah. So, I saw your last, one of your last match against Blake Christian and GCW. How'd that get come about?
It was super, super last minute. I felt like everybody, was making headlines somewhere. Somebody was showing up in Impact. Somebody was showing up in AEW. Somebody was, going back to Ring of Honor. And, with all of the names that was put out, being released from the WWE, I didn't see anybody going back to the Indies. And I thought that was my, why not? Why not go back to a place where, I made a name for myself and what got me to the WWE in the first place. So I saw that it was going to be on Fight TV. A lot of people, I've been watching GCW because they had, some good buzz. A good buddy of mine, Joey Janela, he was going to be on the show, but he didn't have an opponent announced. for the second night. So, he approached me with the idea, and, I said, why not? Let's, have one more match. And, with it being with, Joey, probably my best and, greatest, indie rival. So I thought it was, a match made in heaven.
Yeah. Your second match back was with ACH, right? At the Collective?
Yeah.
Yeah, that I got to see that one. That was a pretty good match too. So yeah, so it's like no matter, it's like he left, for a little bit, but you didn't miss a step, and
yeah,
and it just the opportunity just started grabbing. It's like you said, you went back to the Indies, but it's kind of like you have one match and all eyes on you again. It's like somebody gonna grab him. Next, the opportunity started popping. Another news that just came about was the MLW. How did that come about?
Big MLW.
So, I know Kurt Bauer. You know what I mean? He's always been a good fan. A big fan of yours, and when I saw the announcement, it was like, oh, bro, like what else? What else is this guy? Got open stores coming up.
Man, MLW about to be must see TV.
Yeah, I fuck with MLW. How'd that come about?
Yeah, like you say, he's been trying to get me an MLW for a while now, and it was during a time where I didn't have anything else going on. I'm not signed anywhere, and there was a lot of kind of like dream matches that I wanted to have, and I know a lot of people that are on that list that I put out are in MLW, so hopefully we'll be able to make some of those happen.
Yes, for sure. Speaking of those dream matches, man, I was going down that list, and I just so happened to notice a couple of names that are on that list that have been on the show. AJ Gray. I would love to see Lio Rush versus AJ Gray. That would be, man, bro. I'm just thinking about it now because I know I know how nuts AJ can get in the ring. And then the other name on this list, which was crazy because the day that I interviewed him, he had just got off an IG live with you, and you had a little bit of technical difficulties that day. Trey Lamar. That's the one I want to see. And I definitely want to see it. I don't know which promoter's going to book it first, but I already got a promoter in my ear who wants to book the match. And, we'll talk after the interview, but I would love to see that match. If I don't get any one of those matches, AJ Gray and Trey Lamar. Trey Lamar is on the uprise, and a lot of people, compare his quickness. It kind of reminds me of you. His quickness inside the ring. It's lovely, man. Just seeing that. So your dream matches, and of course you got Chris Bay on there. I love to see that in Impact. Kenta, love to see that in New Japan. Myron Reed, like you said, he's already in MLW, so why not? And Cody, we can call him Cody Rhodes now. So Cody, and of course Lee Champion, Chris Jericho. So of course, in order for those last two to happen, that would have to be like a AEW run, which if the wrestling gods provide it, so be it. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's just on a different platform, but all these matches are good. So how long did it take you to compile all these names on the list?
Like 15 minutes.
It's just going through. Who would I definitely sell out, arena or tear the roof off with? And literally all these matches are definitely something that any wrestling fan, doesn't matter what you like, would definitely love to see. Well, let's get to the current breaking news. Seems like Lio Rush is always breaking news. Whether that be on IG, Twitter, the Book of Faces, if you have it. looks like you just booked a role in the upcoming Power Rangers movie.
Big,
man, and he got one of the OG Rangers,
Tommy.
How did that come about?
No, so Jason David Frank, the original, Green Ranger, he used to go to a lot of the Raw events every time we went to Texas, and he was a fan of mine from just watching the show, and we talked, and over time we grew a pretty cool friendship, and gave me the news that he wanted to put me in his film that he was developing for the upcoming year. So that was a very unique situation, and I'm glad that's happened. Not only because of the movie, but just being able to be friends with somebody like Jason, absolute legend. It's really cool,
man. Because I know there's an age gap between you and I. Like, I'll be 34 this year. But I remember, coming up on the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, bro. I remember rushing home after school just to catch the intro of the Power Rangers. And, I also remember growing up, me and my siblings, man, we would play Power Rangers outside. Like, there's this video that's somewhere, we can't find it today. It's all of my siblings are playing Power Rangers outside. My sister goes to do this front flip. She does this front flip, hits her head on this sign, and literally reverses back after she hit her head on the sign. But speaking of, Power Rangers, was there any particular Power Ranger that, that was your particular choice of preference, or which one were you more into? Because, I know they had the Power Rangers game, but which Power Ranger were you more Lio Rush's style?
Oh, all of them. All of them did cool things. So I didn't want to, just pick one. I did think it was, cool every time, they busted out the White Ranger or the Green Ranger every once in a while. But yeah, all of them.
Yeah. Back in the day, I remember when I was in Puerto Rico, I used to watch the Power Rangers, and it was huge, and it was in Spanish, and and people were going crazy. It was the talk every day in school and all that stuff. And now it's like you got a new set of eyes, and being in the Power Ranger universe now, like the fact that you moved to the West Coast is, now we could see why. I'm saying? All these opportunities are coming your way. But also moving on the other news, you're going to be on MTV, The Challenge.
Yeah.
That was huge. It got Twitter going nuts. You know what I mean? Once Big Man told me about that, I'm like, what? But he just said this. It's like, yo, I can't take it. It's too much.
It was almost like, God damn, every time I went to my, my Twitter IG, breaking news, Lio Rush, breaking news, Lio Rush. Like, damn, what you got some shoes coming out, Leo, we don't know about? What's going on?
Yeah.
So how did the MTV The Challenge come about?
Yeah, they had reached out to me, a few weeks or a few months, after I got released. They knew that, I wanted to step away from wrestling. And, they asked me if I wanted to be a part of the show. They asked me if I knew what it was. And, I said, of course. And, that was pretty much it, being able to, be put in a situation like that where you think, the worst is going to come from it. And then an opportunity just comes, at your front door, and, you got to take it. So, that's what I did. And, and I'm gonna be on MTV.
Oh, man, that's huge, man. Congratulations, man. But by the way, had Topanga hit you up?
No, she's actually, pretty close to my wife. So, I'm still in contact with her every once in a while.
Man, Topanga, man. I would love to interview her.
Man, I would just stare at her.
Gosh. And I mean that in all the good ways possible. I was just such a fan of the whole dynamic. So I'm getting ready to ask you these 3 random questions. First question up. Listen, so if Lio Rush is working out, what type of music is he listening to? The genre, the music, and top artists?
Billboard's Top 100. I just like listening to, what's new, what everybody else is listening to. I typically don't, narrow it down to like a specific genre. I'm pretty open to all kinds of music.
So you consider yourself alternative?
Sure. Yeah.
Well, I believe in Sister Act 2, the term was eclectic.
Oh. Okay. Eclectic.
Okay. Question number 2. Since Thanksgiving is around the corner, dressing or stuffing?
Maybe stuffing.
Okay, going with stuffing. Okay. All right, cool. And the final question. I'm a huge fan of Eddie Murphy, so here we go. What is your favorite line from Coming to America?
Oh, I don't know, man. I just know about the TikTok trend that he's got going on. I think I might be a little too young to remember the lines from Coming to America.
Okay. I tell you what. Your favorite Eddie Murphy movie of all time. Let's make it easier.
No, I said Shrek. My wife said Shrek. I'm not going to say Shrek.
We could go with that.
No, I mean, I do like Shrek, but I mean, you can never go wrong with
I think I'm reading your mind, and I think you're like either leaning towards life or
I'm gonna say Norbit.
Norbit. Oh, snaps!
Yeah,
Respucia.
Yeah. Yeah, Norbit is on movie.
Oh man,
Yo, Norbit was big. Had all the comedy OGs in there.
So I see you got the essence. So I believe your wife makes those.
Yeah. She does. She's got a whole bunch of new scents out right now. So make sure you go get those. Tell everybody that she's got.
All right, plug it in. Huh?
Plug it in. The vegan ones, right? I'm gonna have to get that. No problem.
Yeah, hand rolled incense. This is the new scent right here. We got Midnight. You can go get it on our Etsy store. Oh my goodness, by Sarah. And then I also have them on my website, musicbyleo.com.
Oh, well, I'll definitely be tuning into that, man. Look, definitely want to just thank you for definitely coming on, sharing your story. You know, I always like to give our audience the time to learn new stories, learn stories that you may have thought that you knew, but you really didn't know. So, listen, this is the end of the show. This is where we have to tell you all 2 things. Look, there was way too much negativity during this past election season. Too much negativity can have you unbalanced emotionally, physically, mentally, and spiritually. Spread more positive vibes out there. It takes very little to build someone up than it does to tear someone down. Spread more positive vibes out there. And of course, you know, we have to slow down the spread of COVID. These numbers are spiking up. It's real out here. And, you know, definitely to slow down the spread, it starts with good hygiene. Very simple instructions. We're going to need you to wash your hands
With soap.
and wash your ass. Use soap. And Cheech, let these people know how they have to do this.
From face to ass, not ass to face.
It's that simple. If you want to slow down the spread, people, wash your hands, wash your ass, use soap. From face to ass, not ass to face. And on that note, we out, people. Peace.
Be safe.
Too much drugs got me seeing now. Double, double. I'm in trouble, trouble. And too much love's got me pushing out and thinking about the scenic route. And I wonder if she wonders where the money really wanders when we're hungry, yeah. And too much drugs got me singing now. I do not know where I'm going, but I do know that I'm showing, yeah. Pain on my face when I'm home, too much space when I'm gone. I know that you feel alone. These secrets kill me every time I lie. Distance from me every time I try to put a smile on your face when you cross my mind. Too much drugs got me seeing now. Double, double. I'm in trouble, trouble. And too much love's got me pushing out.